1985, the Iran-Iraq War. Iran built its own drone from nothing. Back then, it flew just 50 kilometers. Today, their drones destroy targets 2,000 kilometers away. This is the story of a 40-year empire. In 2006, a non-state force struck a military warship with a drone for the first time in history. The ship was Israeli. The drone was Iranian. The world didn't realize that day. War had changed forever. 200 kilograms of explosives, 2,000 kilometers of range. This isn't a ballistic missile. This is Iran's kamikaze drone. And stopping it is far harder than anyone expected, with other Iranian-made drones. The Mohajer series, Mohajer 1, Iran's first drone, reconnaissance. Type, first-generation reconnaissance. Range, 50 kilometers. Endurance, around 1.5 hours. Armament, none. In service since 1985. This is where it all began, 1985. The Iran-Iraq War. Iran built its own drone from scratch. The Mohajer 1 was little more than a small aircraft with a camera bolted on. But it was the first stone of a 40-year drone empire. Just 50 kilometers of range, 90 minutes in the air. Primitive by any technical standard. Revolutionary in terms of what it represented. Mohajer 2, reconnaissance. Transferred to Hezbollah. Type, reconnaissance drone. Range, 150 kilometers. Endurance, around 3 hours. Armament, none, though some variants reportedly carried RPGs. In service since 1992. Range jumped from 50 to 150 kilometers. The most remarkable part of this drone story is that Iran gave it to Hezbollah. During the 2006 Lebanon War, Hezbollah used these drones to monitor Israel's coastline, a move that shocked the world. It was one of the first times a non-state armed group had ever operated military drones in a conflict. Mohajer 3, reconnaissance. Range, over 200 kilometers. Endurance, around 4 hours. In service since, around 2000. The Mohajer family's development phase in the early 2000s. Longer range, sharper camera, more time in the air. Used primarily to map the battlefield and track enemy movements. Mohajer 4, multi-role. Range, 150 kilometers. Endurance, around 5 hours. In service since 2010, a genuine step forward. For the first time in the Mohajer line, the platform could carry weapons as well as a camera. 5 hours of endurance made it useful for persistent surveillance alongside strike missions. Mohajer 6, multi-role, export model. Type, multi-role male drone. Range, 200 kilometers. Endurance, 12 hours. Armament, Tucum laser and GPS guided missiles. In service since 2017. Exported to Russia and Hezbollah. The most capable member of the Mohajer family. 12 hours in the air, 200 kilometers of range, 2 precision-guided missiles. Its combat debut came in Syria in 2017. Russia used it in Ukraine in 2022. Hezbollah has received it as well. Iran's most in-demand export drone. Mohajer 10, Iran's most advanced male drone. Type, heavy multi-role male drone. Range, 2,000 kilometers. Endurance, 24 hours. Armament, multiple precision weapons. Wingspan, around 14 meters. In service since 2023. Unveiled to the world in 2023. 2,000 kilometers of range. 24 hours in the air. This is now genuinely comparable to Turkey's Bayraktar TB2. A 14-meter wingspan puts it firmly in the heavyweight category, the most sophisticated male-class drone Iran has ever built. The Ababil series, Ababil 2, kamikaze, Lebanon 2006. Type, kamikaze and reconnaissance. Range, around 100 kilometers. In service since 1992. Ababil means swallow in Arabic. In service since 1992. In 2006, Hezbollah used this drone to strike the Israeli warship, UNS Hanit. The ship was badly damaged and 4 crew members were killed. The attack fundamentally changed how the world thought about drone warfare. It was the first time a non-state force had ever struck a warship with a drone. Ababil 3, kamikaze, range, around 150 kilometers, speed, around 300 kilometers per hour. Warhead, 30 to 40 kilograms, a more powerful version of the Ababil 2. bigger warhead, higher speed. Yemen's Houthi forces have used it extensively in strikes against Saudi Arabia, designed for cheap, high-volume attacks. Ababil 4, multi-role, range over 300 kilometers. In service since around 2015, the middle generation of the family. Range extends to 300 kilometers, and it can carry missiles. Used for both observation and strike missions. Has appeared in multiple conflict reports from Yemen. Ababil 5, multi-role, latest generation, range over 450 kilometers. In service since around 2020. The newest member of the family, over 450 kilometers of range, precision-guided weapons. This is what 30 years of continuous development looks like. From a simple swallow in 1992 to a full-blown modern combat platform. Other strike and kamikaze drones. Arash 2, giant kamikaze, type, large kamikaze drone. Range, over 2,000 kilometers. Speed, around 350 kilometers per hour. Warhead, over 200 kilograms of explosive. In service since 2022. This is what happens when you scale a kamikaze drone up to strategic proportions. Over 200 kilograms of explosives, 2,000 kilometers of range. Unveiled in 2022, the Arash 2 carries enough punch to level an airbase, a port, or a major piece of infrastructure. Iran calls it a strategic kamikaze. Its higher speed is designed to punch through air defenses. Arash kamikaze, original version. Range, around 1,500 kilometers. Warhead, over 100 kilograms. In service since around 2020, the predecessor to the Arash 2. A 100-kilogram warhead at 1,500 kilometers of range. Very few countries on Earth have a kamikaze drone anywhere near this size. Rod 85, strike drone, range around 700 kilometers. In service since around 2015. Built to knock out enemy air defenses from a safe distance. Launched from the ground and guided to its target by an autonomous navigation system. Considered one of Iran's classified programs. Details are scarce. Kian 1, kamikaze, range, around 200 kilometers. Warhead, 50 kilograms. In service since around 2021. Small enough to be a difficult radar target. Carries a 50-kilogram warhead. Effective in swarm attacks. Designed for high-volume production at minimal cost. Kian 2, kamikaze, upgraded. Range, over 400 kilometers. Warhead, over 70 kilograms. In service since around 2023, the bigger sibling. Range doubled, warhead heavier. Announced in 2023, now crosses into medium-range strike territory. Rezvan, kamikaze, in service since around 2022. Technical details, classified. One of Iran's lesser-known kamikaze models. Technical details are kept under wraps, believed to exist in limited numbers. Hadid 110, strike drone, range, around 500 kilometers. In service since around 2020. Specifically designed to go after industrial and infrastructure targets, including power plants, bridges, and logistics hubs. Carries precision-guided munitions for strategic strike missions.